Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you all.
You too.
Likewise.
Adam, are we ready to go? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members are participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with a phone number that you originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on the item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Stan Kumarick, Mishi McCloskey, Neil Palmer, and Sophia Ruddock. City staff are also present: Adam Barcella, Philip Carvalino, and Angelica Zorzos. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, since Committee of Adjustment and the T-Lab will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. If the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on the item. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it has been substantially revised. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Members of the committee understand that there are no minutes from the last meeting to confirm. I'm just going to ask, are there any declarations of conflict of interest that the committee members would like to declare at this morning's session? There are none. Thank you very much. It's my understanding there are no files to be closed, so we will proceed to this morning's application. I've been advised by staff that there's an item we have to put on the front of the agenda to deal with an application that was previously dealt with by the committee for 20 Lady Bank Road, and it involves a revised plan and some direction from the committee. I'm looking for Mr. Simeon Skoufaris. Are you there, sir? Mr. Skoufaris, are you there?
He's on the WebEx and he's been unmuted, so.
Mr. Skoufaris, are you there? One more time. Mr. Skoufaris, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can
Hello?
I get your full
Yes,
name?
okay.
Can I get your full name and address,
Yeah.
please?
Yes, thank you for hearing me. So my name is Simeon Skoufaris, 20 Lady Bank Road, Etobicoke. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's my understanding that you need some direction from the committee on your minor variance. Can you describe what that issue is, please?
Certainly. About a year and a half ago, we submitted to this committee variances for a demolition and new build. Included in that application was a rear patio, excavated patio, that was on the south side of our drawings, so on the south side of our property, and that was approved. Subsequent to all of that, and looking at lots of factors, we decided that it would be better to place that on the north side of our drawings of our property. That change was flagged by the zoning officer, as he didn't want to decide whether or not that substantially changed the application when we applied for zoning. So he asked us to come back to the committee to review it, and that's why we're here. Now, I can just add that we've not changed the size of that patio, just the location from in the rear from the south side to the north side, so shifting it from the south wall to the north wall. It doesn't create any new zoning variances. In fact, it reduces one of the side setback variances, and both neighbors, the north and south, are in agreement that they are happy with us doing that.
Okay, so just to summarize, to make sure I think we've got this correct, because I think it can be confusing to, it was confusing to me when I first heard it. You had approval in your previous decision, which was A0704/19 You had the approval for your proposal, which included the deck. The deck was originally on the north side, but for some reason you had to move it to the south side, which didn't trigger the need for any more variances. We have an email from the city building that indicates that there's no impact of moving that deck, doesn't trigger any more variances. So if I can summarize, what you're looking for us from the committee to satisfy building, because you've moved the location of the deck from the north side to the south side, is a direction from the committee that the revised site plan that you've submitted to the committee satisfies the conditions of decision number A0704, which specified that you had to submit a site plan, you had to build in accordance with the site plan submitted with the committee. Am I correct in that summary?
You are, I'd say 99% correct. The only thing is you had said that it was on the north and we want it on the south, but it's actually the opposite. It was originally located on the south side of our property, and we're locating to the north side of the property. But yes, exactly that.
Okay, so I'm just going to add, I'm sure the committee has some questions, so I'll just ask the
Sure.
committee. Does the committee have any questions on the applicant's request? I know it's a little confusing. Mr. Kumerick?
Do we have the revised site plan for review?
I think it was submitted in the material submitted to the members. Ms. Sortzos, can we put that up on the screen, the revised site plan?
Sorry, Mr. Kumerick, through you, Mr. Chair. It was in the zip file that was sent out on Thursday, I believe. It's not in the
Okay,
main package. It's a standalone file within the zip that was sent out.
okay, sorry, I don't think I opened that one. You find it?
Mr. Skoufaris, are you there? Mr. Skoufaris, are you there? Mr. Skoufaris, are you there? I'm sorry, Mr. Kumerick. I think you can see from the plan where the patio has been relocated on the south side of the property. I don't know if that, we can't get a hold of Mr. Skoufaris to confirm that, but this is the revised site plan that he's submitted to committee. And that shows the deck at the back of the building located on the south, adjacent to the south wall of the property, where, as I understand it before, it was originally adjacent the north wall. Again, building confirms that moving the deck from the north to the south wall doesn't trigger the need for any more variances. And what building is looking for is some direction from the committee that this revised site plan satisfies the conditions of the original decision. I hope I've got that correct. Mr. Skoufaris, are you there?
He's no longer on the WebEx. I think we lost him. So
We've lost him?
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
try.
well, I guess he's no longer here for some reason. He's dropped off. Does the committee have any questions? It was difficult for me to I understand I wasn't involved in this, obviously, but perhaps some of you might recall the original issue. Is there any issue with the committee directing staff to advise building that this revised site plan satisfies the decision? Is there any discussion you'd like to have regarding that issue?
Neil Palmer. What were the variances requested?
There were, let me just go back. The variances requested, it was basically the original variances, which were, I guess, approved back in June, were to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There was a variance relating to floor space index. There was a variance dealing with the new dwelling would be located 0.9 meters from the south side lot line. The new dwelling will have a length of 19.2 meters, will have a depth of 19.2 meters, and it would have a soffit height of 6.9 meters. And the committee approved that application with two conditions. One, that it had to do the standard tree conditions, and that the development would be constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan held on file by the committee. I guess the issue is, for reasons of environmental reasons, according to the applicant's material that he submitted to the committee, he moved the deck from the north side to the south side. It doesn't intrude into the variances or the setbacks approved by the committee. He's just moving it from the north side to the south, from north wall to the south wall. And I guess from what I'm made to understand is that the building division wants a confirmation that this change satisfies the conditions, the committee's decision. And that's basically what he's looking for is a motion to direct staff to advise building that the revised site plan, which is dated the 7th January and shows that the deck on the adjacent the south wall and in compliance with the revised setback, that it satisfies the conditions of your original decision of June 21. I think that's essentially it.
Okay, in my opinion, if the variances are tied to the site plan and this deck doesn't impact on the variances, I don't think we want to get tied up on the location of the deck, the position of the windows, position of doors, position of landscaping that has really nothing to do with the variances requested. That's my opinion. So I would be okay with.
We have confirmation from building again that the relocating the deck from the adjacent the north wall to adjacent the south wall doesn't trigger the need for any more variances. The variances stay the same. It's just a motion.
So I would.
Just a directive from you to direct staff to tell building it's in compliance with the original decision.
Yeah, with what I had before me, I'm satisfied, but I'd like to hear from other people, I guess.
Okay, I was
Just,
Mr. Any further questions or comments? Mr. Kumerick?
and we have confirmation that the abutting neighbors are okay with this?
The neighbor, according to the material that was
Hello?
submitted, there's no objection to the relocating the deck from the neighbors.
Hello, committee. This is the landowner. Can you hear me? It looks like you can now.
Yes.
Ah, thank you.
Is that,
Yeah.
is that
So correct.
Mr. Skoufaris?
Yeah. You've all done a great job of arguing my case. Thank you. Yes. So the neighbors are both fine. There should be supporting emails from both of them.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Skoufaris.
Yeah.
You're back.
Thank you.
Just going to
Yeah.
ask the committee, does the committee have any further questions of Mr. Skoufaris? No?
No, I just wanted it to be on record that both of the neighbors are in favor, because when it was approved
Mhm.
specifically with that site plan, and now we're changing the site plan. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah, understood. And I think most importantly, the north neighbor is who would, if anyone was impacted more, would be her, since our deck would be closer to her now, is completely fine with it. So, and
Okay,
again,
and
it's in there, yeah.
And do we have confirmation from staff that we have those emails from the neighbors?
Yes, they're included in the material. I
Okay,
can-
thank you. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, if I could, does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Skoufaris, if I could get a motion, and I would suggest the motion might read that a motion to direct staff to advise the building division that the revised site plan dated 7th of January 2021 satisfies the conditions of Committee of Adjustment Decision A0704/19 EYK. I understand that's a bit of a mouthful, but I don't know how else to word it. That's what they're looking for. To be perfectly honest, I think the building division is being silly, but this is what they want for the gentleman to get his building permit. So if we could get, if someone
That's
could
fine.
formally
I-
submit that as a motion or reword it to your satisfaction. Mr. Kumerick?
That's fine. I can move that motion.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Sortsos, did you get that motion that I read out? Okay, thank you. I have Mr. Kumerick puts forward that motion. Ms. Ruddick seconds it. All those in favor? That motion carries. Committee members, thank you for your patience. Mr. Skoufaris, you have a motion, and staff will inform the building division that your site plan complies with your decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
We'll go back to our regular agenda. We'll go to 240 Rustic Road. I have 3 people registered to speak.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. I'm just gonna, I need to sound check just one more participant. For,
So we're missing a person?
yes, just one participant.
Okay, we'll go to the next item, which is item number
Oh.
2.
Just to make sure that they're on.
Okay,
But-
so you want me to hold for a second?
Yes, just one
Okay,
second.
thank you.
Sorry. Hello, Laura.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Which item are you here for?
Oh, 69 Willingdon Boulevard. You checked me in already.
Okay, and you're from 65.
Yes, I live
Okay.
at 65.
Perfect. That's
Okay,
great. Thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
Are we a go, Ms. Sortzos? Okay, thank you. Again, 240 Rustic Road, I have 3 people registered to speak. The first is the owner, Giacomo Giorgio. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
My full name is Giacomo Giorgio, and my address is 240 Rustic Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, I note that there's some material in your file from staff. There's a city planning report dated the 13th of July, 2021. They have no objections to your application, provided that the development is constructed as illustrated on the site plan submitted May 18th, 2021, held on file by the committee, and that the owner shall submit a financial security to the Director of Community Planning, Etobicoke York District, in the form of a letter of credit or certified check to guarantee providing landscaping development works as detailed on the agreed-upon site plan. We also have Forestry is recommending refusal due to the potential impact on a city-owned tree. So I just wanted to ask, sir, have you had the opportunity to review these reports, especially the one from city planning?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, we have 2 other people registered to speak, sir, so if you'd like to give a brief presentation to the committee, I would also suggest you address the issue of urban forestry regarding the potential impact on the city-owned tree. So if you'd like to proceed.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I'm looking to build a garage on the west side of the house on the property, with a side yard setback of 1 meter on the northwest corner and 1.4 meters on the southwest corner. So this is 0.8 meters less than the requirement on the northwest corner and 0.4 meters less than the requirement on the southwest corner. And the reason I'm looking for this extra space is for a second car to fit comfortably in the garage. This is not a living space, and it's only 1 story. So some of the other items to highlight are that the property on the west side currently has a living space with a setback of 1.3 meters. And also my property on the east side has a 1.6 meter setback on the existing garage, even though the requirement is 1.8 meters. Also, my property has a frontage of about 22 meters, which is why there's a larger setback requirement. The vast majority of the properties in the area have a lot frontage of approximately 15 meters, and those have 1.2 meter setback requirement. So for those reasons, I believe that variance is minor and appropriate for the property and the area, and it keeps with the general intent and purpose of the city's zoning bylaw and official plan. With respect to the tree, so this has been a long process for me. It started in November of 2020, and there's been many revisions, I think about 6 revisions to the site plan for this. And I've had discussions about the tree with a site technician and also with city planning. And the material that was sent out last week was the first time there was any comment on refusal because of that tree. So I was quite surprised. I did have an arborist report completed in November of 2020, along with an application to remove the tree and all the appropriate paperwork. So again, I'm very surprised that this is becoming an issue now. In addition, back in 2015, so about 6 years ago, there was a tree further east on my property that was cut down because the city was doing some work in the area. So they cut that down and then planted this new tree, the tree in question, without my consent, or without even talking about it to me. So, and then also this tree is, I believe it's 17 centimeters, the diameter. So we're not talking about a significant tree that can't be replanted. I'd be willing to plant it somewhere else on my property, another tree, another 2 trees. I'm open to any suggestions on that front. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, does the location, you're closing up the existing driveway and on the east side of the property, moving it to the west side. Does that have any significant impact on that city-owned Norway maple tree that's in the municipal road allowance?
Yes, so there's 2 trees. You know, I don't know if it's maple or whatnot, but there's 2 trees on the boulevard, one on the east side, one on the west side. The one on the west side is the one that I've submitted paperwork and had arbor support to have that removed. That is the one in question.
Okay, so that tree will have to be removed?
Yes.
Okay, so you understand that since it's a city-owned tree, that there's a risk associated. You may have to go to community council in order to get approval to remove that tree. And
So my understanding was, yeah, so my understanding was, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, but you understand the risk associated with it?
Right.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kumerick?
Two questions. One is the existing garage, I'm assuming, will be converted to habitable space.
No, it will be for storage.
Okay, but storage is still not a garage use. It'll still be considered usable space, I think.
That's right. My initial plan was to keep that garage there, but city planning didn't like that idea.
Well, they don't want you to have 2 driveways.
Correct. Or 2 garages. Wow.
Or 2 garage. Well,
Right.
yeah,
You
because
can have
once
the
you have
driveway
2,
without the garage, but yeah.
yeah, once you have 2 garages, you have the right to have 2 driveways. I also noticed there's a fire hydrant next to that city tree.
Yes.
I'm assuming that will not be in line with your new driveway.
No, it won't. No impact on the fire hydrant.
Sorry?
No impact to the fire hydrant, no.
No, it just, if it's really close, you may be impacting it. That's why I just wanted to check. Thank you.
Right.
Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move to the next speaker on the list. I have Barbara Ulutis or Onur Ulutis, and I'm sure I've mispronounced that. Are either of you there? Barbara Ulutis or Onur Ulutis, are you there?
Yes. This is Barbara. I know Owner was about to join us as well. We had to use 2 separate telephones at the time. You should be on. Just one moment, please.
Madam, just a moment. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. It's Barbara Yolatosh at 229 Rustic Road.
229 Rustic.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your views on this application, please.
Sure. One moment. Just one moment, please.
Madam, are you there? Ms. Gilutis, are you there?
Okay, just apologize.
Sorry, just one moment. Yep.
Committee.
Yes,
One
hello,
moment here.
Madam, can you let us know what your views are on this application, please?
Hi, committee members. I apologize for that. My wife is taking care of our 3 kids and we're not able to manage this so well, but we do have some concerns we'd like you to hear.
Yeah, please proceed.
My
Can
name
I
is
get your, sir,
Owner.
can I get your name and address, please?
Absolutely, sir. First name's Owner, last name's Yulatosh. We are calling on behalf of 229 Rustic Road.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to proceed.
Yes, sir. So we do have some concerns with regards to the transparency of what's going on. I mean, forestry is definitely a concern for us. Mr. Giacomo has taken it upon himself to take down over 10 cedar trees on the west side of that property, some over the girth of 30 centimeters. And we don't necessarily want the tree removed as well on that boulevard. We wouldn't support that. There has been some other issues as well. There was a pool that was just recently put in. I'm not sure if the neighbors on the west side were consulted properly on that. You might want to ask them with regards to that. There's also been some fencing that's been put in. So we're more concerned, my wife and I are more concerned about the environmental impacts of the situation and the fire load on that hydrant that Mr. Komorek had pointed out earlier. There is significant space between the proposed driveway and that fire hydrant. However, if there was a situation where the fire department had to tap those lines, I think it might be a problem getting out of their driveway or evacuating. But again, our main concern is the forestry issue. There's been a lot of trees taken down. As we're all aware that Toronto has a lacking urban canopy. I don't think anyone was consulted with regards to those trees. That's our main concern, panelists.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Peter Lapadula. Are you there, sir? Mr. Lapadula, are you
Hello?
there?
Yes, I am, sir. I'm right here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Peter Lapadula, 236 Rustic Road.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your views on this application?
Yes, so we've received the application of the letter in the mail. First time going through this, so not really understanding the steps, but we're trying to work through it. But I think the kind of three main things that my wife and I have kind of come to the conclusion is, we're with the structure being built there, we're concerned about potentially if there's any, water drainage issues or runoffs with that. The other thing too is there's a few windows there that, may be the sunlight may not be able to come through, especially the ones in the basement. And I did speak to Giacomo about this, about our concerns, with, being neighbors and stuff like that. We do want to be cordial, of course, right? And we did have a chat about this. So I just wanted to bring those forward to the committee or this meeting today. And I think the only other thing would be that, with that structure going up, because our other side has our neighbors there as well too. I'm not sure if it'll be, it's hard to determine when something is not actually built, right, or there. So it's kind of hard to imagine, will there be sort of that feeling of being boxed in type of thing? Again, it's not built yet, so it's hard to kind of determine. But we felt that we want to bring these things forward. Like I said, we did speak to Giacomo on these items, and we felt we wanted to share with them with the committee here today. So those, I would say, are the main kind of items.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to Mr. Giorgio. Mr. Giorgio, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to respond.
Yeah, so I think I've spoken at length about the tree. Regarding the side yard setback, so I was cognizant of the windows and the space, and that is why the proposal doesn't have a two-story structure. It's just a one-story structure. So, my thinking was to keep it one story, and then try to get a little bit more space on the width. But keeping that in mind, not going to 2 stories. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kumerick?
Okay, I understand the concerns, and I do feel the requests are reasonable. So I think what we're going to try to do is to put a number of conditions on an approval. So I'd like to move an approval, stating that I believe it does meet the 4 tests. However, would like to make that conditional on the planning, the 2 conditions of planning as set out. And I believe the idea there is to ensure that the asphalt driveway in fact gets removed. And I think the reason I can support this is because overall we'll wind up with more permeable landscaping in the long run, in that I believe there'll be more asphalt coming out than going in. So I'd like to make it subject to those 2 conditions, but also to forestry condition number 1. Obviously, a city tree is being impacted. And possibly we should consider forestry condition number 3, although forestry didn't ask for it, is a cash in lieu to ensure that a tree is replaced and another tree is planted as well.
Okay, so if I could just summarize, Mr. Kumerick, you're recommending, putting forward a motion to approve the application subject to city planning and urban forestry conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Kumerick's motion? Mr. Palmer
Neil
seconds.
Palmer, second.
All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go to the next item on the list. Item number 2, which is 10 Harrow Drive. I have a Nicole Guadagnoli, and I'm sure I haven't pronounced that correct either. Ms. Guadagnoli, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Yes, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. It's Nicole Guadagnoli, and it's 10 Harrow Drive.
Okay, thank you, madam. I notice, look, you have a proposal to construct a rear deck and a pool. I noticed that there are no comments or recommended conditions from staff on your application. I think the committee's pretty clear on what you're asking for. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that we have before us this morning?
No, pretty well. Everything that we've submitted is what I would be speaking about today. Separate from that, we just have had conversations with the owners to the east and west of us. I know they were generally in support of this proposal, although I don't think any type of letters were submitted to the committee. But that's pretty well it on my end.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please?
I'll chime in. I believe the application is minor, meets the 4 tests, and therefore I would like to recommend approval with no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Kumerick. Someone to second that? Ms. McCloskey seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Go on to item number 3, 53 Albright Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Shannon Rosen. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, madam. I just went through your file. I note that we have no comments or recommended conditions from staff. I think the committee's pretty clear on what you're asking for in the two variances you have before us this morning. I'm just going to ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material that we have before us this morning?
I think our application speaks for itself, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Palmer?
Neil Palmer, I'll move for approval. Four tests of the Planning Act are met, and it's minor in nature. So I'll move for approval without conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Ms. Ruddock seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application is unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. The next item is item number 4, 310 to 312 GARYRAY Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That's a Jonathan Benskowski. Are you there, sir?
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Yes, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Jonathan Benskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. I noticed that we have a report from City Planning dated the 29th of June, 2021. It's recommending your application be refused. There's a report from recommended conditions from Urban Forestry, and then there's a Transportation Services. There's an undated report that appears to indicate they have no objections to your application. I just wanted to ask, in view of the city planning report that recommends refusing, would you like to defer to discuss this matter with them further, or do you want to proceed with your application today?
A couple of things, Mr. Chair. One, that planning report is not available online. That being said, it doesn't really change where we are.
Do you want to proceed with your application even though there's a...
Yes, I'd like to proceed.
Okay, thank you. If you could give the, in view of the fact that there is a refusal report from city planning, if you could give the committee a recommendation on what you see are the merits of your proposal, and I'd suggest you focus on planning's report.
Sir, as previously said, the planning report is not available on the AIC. I don't think that changes where we are today regardless. I did have conversations with planning. Planning was willing to not object to this application if the proposed car dealer was in conjunction with the public garage, meaning that the two uses were linked. Right now, number 312, which is the proposed car dealership area, is a vacant area. It has been vacant for some time. The proposal is on a street called GARYRAY Drive, which has a multitude of industrial, as well as commercial, as well as vehicle uses located along it. The proposal before you today would increase the landscaping within the front yard that's adjacent to GARYRAY Drive. There is no proposal for any storage of vehicles in the front yard of the property. All storage of vehicles would be internal. The proposed tenant of the building is a wholesaler of vehicles. It is not a walk-up business. So all vehicles would be proposed to be stored inside of the building. Now, it's not possible for us to do it in conjunction with the public garage because the individual who owns the building operates the public garage. He does not have a desire to sell vehicles. What we often see in cases like this is a 3-year conditional approval if the committee were to see fit, which we would not have an issue with to ensure that there is no outside storage of vehicles in the front yard. In terms of the character of this neighborhood, we have Steeles, which is the abutting properties to the north, which contain numerous vehicle sales. There is no change proposed to the egress, meaning the one-way entrance is to be maintained along the east, and the one-way exit is to be maintained along the west. Again, in speaking with planning, it was not possible to make the two uses in conjunction with each other simply because the owner of the public garage does not have an interest in wholesaling vehicles. So to kind of summarize where we are, there is no reduction in parking for 310. meaning they are not now deficient from parking, which is often what happens. And that is reflective of the transportation report that is before you today. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have right now.
Yeah, sir, I wanted to ask, there was you had a previous approval from committee back a few years ago, and there were conditions imposed at that time. One of them that there was to be one-way signage installed on the east and west driveways. When I was up there, there's no signage there. The east driveway is inaccessible. You can't get through it. And there's supposed to be no outdoor storage of derelict and unplated vehicles. I couldn't get into the rear yard, but it appears that there's quite a few vehicles parked on site. You also show that there's a landscaped area at the front of the building, which right now is all hard surface. So why should the committee believe that you're proposing, you didn't satisfy the conditions from the previous approval? Why should they be confident that you're going to do it now? And are you proposing to take out that asphalt area in the front yard?
Correct. The asphalt area in the front yard is proposed to be removed. That was not a condition of approval from the original approval, sir. That is what we are proposing now, is to create some greenscape in the front yard to satisfy, often a concern here is a display of vehicles for sales. That's not what we are proposing here. So in order to satisfy and to mitigate that, I have put some landscaping along the front with just enough room to have a walkway to access it. In terms of the one-way signage, sir, I believe you 100% if you say there wasn't a signage there. But I can tell you at the time of the approval back then, the signs had to be installed because transportation actually visited the site, sir, to ensure that those signs were up. So
there's no signs there, sir.
Maybe they've come down, but I can tell you the original approval had the one-way signs there, and we would be happy to have that be a condition of this approval. Also, sir, if the committee were to see fit.
Well, so are you proposing to get rid of all the vehicles that are parked in the east side yard?
Correct, sir.
And so where are they going to go?
This is a changing business now where the wholesaler of cars in the proposed unit would have everybody on the inside. And just with the changing dynamics of the market, the actual man who does who owns the building along the east side has to change his business a little bit, where he is now just doing insurance cars that come and go. He's not repairing vehicles for sale on his end. He's just simply doing insurance cars, which would all have to be stored inside the premises.
Okay, so
the storage of vehicles is allowed. The storage of vehicles is allowed in the rear yard. It's derelict vehicles and parts that's not allowed.
That could be, sir, but like I said, there's vehicles parked in that east, so they were obviously being stored there. If there was a fire on the property, you couldn't get into the rear yard. Anyhow, I'll just ask: does the committee have any questions of the applicant?
Neil Palmer. So you're leasing the unit at 312, is that correct?
310 is now owner occupied. 312 would be leased for the proposed vehicle sales.
Okay, and how long is the lease for?
It would probably be a 5-year lease.
Okay, so 5-year lease.
To be honest, I'm not sure, but I would assume probably starting out at a 5-year lease if it were to be approved.
Okay.
Okay, and you're saying that this is for wholesale vehicles. What does that mean? You arrange with another private company to come in and purchase these vehicles?
Correct. This isn't a curbside walk-in sales, meaning there's no signage that would have an individual that would come in off the street to look at a vehicle. Anybody who were to come to the site would be picking up a vehicle already purchased.
Okay, I think, the area I believe is zoned heavy industrial, and I think what the city wants to do is not have the public going into an area like that every day, because when you introduce a use that is not compatible, that could create issues for the existing heavy industrial users in the area when they're trying to get their Ministry of Environment approvals, when you introduce uses that are incompatible. So I think that's probably where the concern is. I guess if it's a private operation and not a public operation, I guess I'm more comfortable, but, and if it was limited to 5 years, that could be a way of doing this as well. But I'd like to hear from my colleagues as well.
Mr. Kumar?
Maybe, sorry, Mr. Chair, maybe if I could just address one of the issues of the MOE, that Mr. Palmer brought up. You're 100% correct. Those restrictions would apply for a residential use. I'm fairly familiar with those restrictions, having done some work in the stockyards around St. Clair Avenue West. Those restrictions would be based upon the stacks that would come up and the height and the separation associated with that to a residential use. So I'm fairly confident in saying any MOE requirements that for the existing industrial uses that are there would not be affected by a proposed car dealership because it's not habitable. It's not considered a soft use.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kumrick, I'm sorry, you had a question?
I have a statement. I think I can make a bit of a case for the applicant, actually. I understand planning's concern, but if you look at Signet Drive and the 3 abutting uses along Signet Drive are in fact car dealerships. And if you look at a map and take the eastern portion of those properties along Signet and draw that line straight down to Gary Drive, it would in fact include 310 and 312 Gary Drive. So I could see that, if it's a zoning line, it could go either way. On the flip side of that, I do have the same concerns that the chairman expressed with regards to the storage of the vehicles on the eastern side. And if we can somehow tie the landscaping, tie it to the length of the lease for 5 years and ensure that vehicles are not being stored there, I'd be inclined to support this.
Thank you, Mr. Kumrick. Is there just out of curiosity, Mr. Kumrick, is there a question there?
Well, my only question is this use currently happening, or is it, as you say, vacant?
Okay. Sir, did you get the question from Mr. Kumrick? Mr. Benskowski?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, completely sorry, completely out on me mid-question.
Sorry, no problem. I just want to know whether the dealership's already happening or whether that's contingent on our approval.
Contingent on the approval. It's currently vacant right now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any for Ms. McCloskey?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask one more question. With regards to, you say a private dealership, so is that, are you having customers come in on a weekly basis or a daily basis to purchase or to pick up these vehicles, rather?
It would be the wholesaling of cars, not necessarily individual cars, but the cars would come in en masse and leave en masse. So there's really no showroom that is required.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker?
I have one, which comes to mind now. Please, where do you plan to store these vehicles? Because it looks right now like that site is deficient in car storage space as it is.
All the vehicles through you, Mr. Chair, that are to be sold will be inside of the inside of that proposed area. It's basically just an open room that exists at 312. So any vehicles would be stored inside. They wouldn't be stored on the outside for the wholesaling side of it.
Okay, so if I may have a follow-up to that, how many vehicles can you accommodate on the inside?
Ooh, bear with me for 1 sec. I could give you a rough idea based upon kind of a standard vehicle size. So we're looking at 5.6, 2.6, 3, 6, 9, 12. You could go 4 across by 5. You could get about 35 to 40 cars inside.
Sir, just a moment. your approval, your previous approval only granted 27 parking stalls, zoning code size parking stalls. So if you're proposing more parking that's than was approved in your previous decision, which was 27, so you're now telling the committee that actually you have more than 27 spaces and that they don't comply with the zoning code?
Oh, no, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I thought Mr. Kumrick was asking how many could be stored inside of the building.
Okay, well,
Correct.
then be clear to Mr. Kumrick that you're dealing with storage inside the building, not outside. So how many are you proposing to store outdoors, which appears to be 27? So you're saying you can have 40 vehicles in total with another 13 stored inside the building?
No, there's no proposed, in terms of the use at 312, there'll be no parking allocated to that. All the existing exterior parking will go to number 310. The question I was addressing was the storage of the cars for the proposed use that would be interior to the building with no exterior changes. Hence why we have a report from transportation that does not object to the reduction of parking any further.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please?
Sorry, I do have one more. Do we have a site plan showing the proposed landscaping? Because
The parking layout?
No, the proposed landscaping in the front of the building.
Yes, it would be in the package submitted.
Trying to find that. Do you have a drawing number on it?
It's just labeled site plan because there's really no associated drawings. There's really
Okay,
nothing else.
I see. Okay. So you're fine with that?
Correct.
Okay.
Can we get a motion, please?
So, yeah, I would like to move approval subject to a number of conditions. I would like it to be conditional on that site plan, and if we can get the date of that site plan. Would like it to be conditional on the reinstallation of the signage that was removed. And I believe forestry has requested a condition number 3, which is a cash in lieu for a tree. And also tie it to a 5-year period of time.
Okay, thank you. So if I can summarize, Mr. Kumrick, your motion is to approve the application for a 5-year period, subject to introducing the landscaped area at the front of the building, as well as I've missed something, Mr. Can you go through those again?
Sorry, forestry condition number 3.
Okay, and a 5-year approval and introducing the landscaping at the front of the building.
And reintroducing the signage that has been removed.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Kumrick's motion? That motion does not, Mr. Palmer?
I'll second it. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Palmer seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion does not carry, and I will not support that motion. So that motion loses. Can I get another motion, please? Well,
I will move to, yes. Sorry if I'm off mute. Yeah, sorry, I'm struggling with this one because I looking at the site itself and the amount of cars that are parked in the back, introducing a new use, we don't have planning support. I think further thought needs to go into this application, further conversations, maybe engage a transportation consultant to just figure out. There's not enough clarity around this use. I am concerned. So for that reason, I do not think it's minor in nature and propose to refuse.
okay. We have a motion from Ms. McCloskey to refuse that. Ms. Ruddock supports that motion. All those in favor? Opposed? We have a tie vote, and I'll support Ms. McCloskey's motion. Sir, your application's been refused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're now on item number 5, 62 East Drive. I have two people registered to speak. The agent is Marco Vieira. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you, sir. Just wanted to ask, sir, your application, we have, I note on file, we have a recommended condition from Urban Forestry. We have a report from Toronto Region Conservation Authority dated the 29th of June. They have no objections to your application. There's a report from City Planning dated the 29th of June. They have no objections to your application, provided that the proposed development is constructed as illustrated on the architectural plans submitted 16th of June, held on file by the committee as they relate to the height of the main pedestrian entrance and the calculation of floor space index. So in view of the fact, sir, that we have another person registered to speak on your application, if you could give the committee a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Certainly, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Marco Vieira. I'm the agent and the designer for this application. And the purpose of the application is to construct a new two-story detached dwelling with an integral garage. We have a total of 7 variances that we are proposing and asking the committee to consider, and which triggers some of these variances arise, I guess, from existing site conditions, of which the current and existing street slopes east-west, and then the lot also slopes north-south. So the established grade, when we take the average of the two adjacent properties, triggers the variances for floor space index. That is why our floor space index is at 0.9 times the lot area, because the basement area is being counted as the first story. It's the first floor because it is the closest to established grade. The similar reason, pedestrian entrance is also measured from established elevation or established grade, and we're asking for a proposed variance of 1.56, where the 1.2 meters is allowed. And a similar condition is the wall height along the sides of the house, where we propose 8.8 meters and the allowed is 8.5. So I would say those are the 3 main variances. We did reduce the length of our proposal while we were discussing the proposal with planning. We've also looked at reducing the proposed deck off of the first floor. And again, as zoning defines it, is considered to be a balcony because the height of established grade to first floor and basement, it's higher, and therefore it's counted as a balcony and not as a deck. Our proposal is very much in keeping with the area that is transitioning for the majority of one-story dwellings. There's been several severances on the street, particularly on the other side of the street. And this is kind of, I guess I'll call it different, because our property line to the east is has a different zone. So we're zoned RS with a density of 0.6 of the lot area, but right next door, the density is 0.8. And right across the street, the density is 1 times the lot area. So it's quite different. There's a change in the zoning there. There's also a change in lot sizes, architectural styles. We believe our proposal fits well into the neighborhood, and we ask the Committee of Adjustments to consider the approval of our application as presented to you.
Thank you, Mr. Vera. Thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next speaker on the list. I have a Christy O'Neill. Are you there, madam?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Dr. Christy O'Neill, and I'm located at 88 Bexley Crescent.
Okay, madam, if you'd like to give us your views on this application.
Sure. I'm really happy that the eyesore of an empty lot that's collecting litter is going to get some construction. I just wonder if someone could explain the requested variance to the zoning bylaw number 6 in plain English to me, please. I don't understand what I'm being told here. Thank you.
Just a moment, madam. Can you just bear with us here? You're talking about variance number 6?
Yes, I'm looking at page 2 of the paper package I received, and I see that we are going to move from 4 meters squared to 18 meters squared. So I was just wondering if someone could explain to me in plain English what that's about.
Well, that means he's under the zoning bylaw, they're allowed to have a platform that has an area of 4 square meters. He's proposing on the second story to have a platform that has an area of 18 square meters. So it's larger than what's allowed by the zoning bylaw. Therefore, he's going for a variance. And that's
I get that. Let me stop you there. I get that. It's words like platform and whatnot. When we're talking about platform, are we saying, okay, this building is going to be more than 4 times the size of what we used to have? Are we saying that there's going to be a deck that's more than 4 times the size? I'd just like to know as a neighbor what to expect.
Well, what I can do is I'll refer that back to Mr. Vieira, and he can explain that. Because he's the applicant, and he'll have a better grasp of it than we do. Is that your major concern, madam?
Yes, I'd just like to know a little bit more about what's going in.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to Mr. Vieira. Mr. Vieira, are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Sir, you've heard the question from Ms. O'Neill. If you'd like to explain to her in some detail as to what you're proposing there at the rear.
Certainly. So variance number 6 refers to platform, and platform arises just from the definition of zoning, how they define it. The difference between, in our case, a deck or a platform is simply because the difference from established grade to first floor is more than 1.2 meters. We are actually proposing 1.5. And because of that, the definition of the deck changes to a platform. And in this case, the proposed size of the platform is 18 meters, where the allowed is 4 meters. It's not off of the traditional second floor of the house. It is off of the first floor, off of the kitchen family room at the back of the house. So essentially, it's an elevated wood deck that has stairs that come down to grade at the back of the house.
Okay, and is that what's illustrated on drawing number A-3?
Yes, it is. And there's revision bubbles on it. And that's because we've reduced the depth of the deck so that it doesn't encroach so much into the rear yard. And part of the stairs have been pushed into the deck. On the site plan, you'll also be able to see the same thing, where the stairs are partially into the deck to not have such a larger deck extending towards the rear of the yard.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. McCloskey?
I'll move to approve this application. Consider it to meet the 4 tests, subject to urban forestry condition number 1. And are there any others from planning? And then tied to the architectural plans dated June 16th, 2021 for planning's request.
Thank you, Ms. McCloskey. Someone to second Ms. McCloskey's motion? Mr. Kumrick seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Oh, Roddick, are you? You're opposed?
Sorry, I'm in favor. Sorry, I'm in
okay.
favor.
All right, thank you. So, I think that motion carries. Mr. Vieira, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Have a good day.
Item number 6, 27 Dunraven Drive. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent, John Ramirez. Are you there, Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, hello, Mr. Ramirez. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, it's John Ramirez, 371 Strawberry Crescent, Waterloo.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just going through your file, I note there's a number of city reports connected with this application. There's recommended conditions from urban forestry and ravine and natural features protection. There's a report from city planning dated the 23rd of June. It indicates they appear to have no objections to your application, provided that the proposed development is constructed as illustrated on the site plan drawing submitted on the 8th of June, held on file by the committee as it relates to the step back of the proposed 4th-story addition from the front of the dwelling. So I note that we have another another deputy who'd like to speak on this matter, sir. So if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation of what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure. If we can just pull up the presentation I submitted. I'll just get started talking just a little bit of what we're proposing today. So we're proposing a rear addition. It's located at the back. It's about 22 feet from the front of the house. And we have 5 variances ahead of us. Oh, if we can go to the presentation and not the letter. Perfect. And just go to slide. Yeah, slide 2 is fine. So these are the 5 variances we're applying for. There's a breakdown here for the difference of what we're applying for. So we can stay on the 3rd slide. Go down. So here's you can see the difference of what we're asking for. We're asking for an additional story located at the back. The building heights we're within a meter of building height and main wall height. And then with the platform, we're asking for an additional 6 inches of encroachment and 0.6% of coverage for the platform that's being built at the back. Can we go to the next slide? So here's a section of the property. So you can see how low the front of the property line is. The elevation is the difference in the elevations between the front and the rear is about 33 feet. There's a 15-foot retaining wall holding back the backyard. You can see there the grade shaded area is the new addition that we're proposing. Can we go to the next slide? This is a picture. The picture onto the left is a picture facing, it's from the rear looking at the house, and you can see we're looking down at the house. Picture to the right is a retaining wall that's located at the back of the property holding the back neighbor. So you can see that their property is much higher. Can we go to the next slide? That's the 15-foot retaining wall. Can we go to the next slide? So this is a picture from the front of the house. You can see it'll be very difficult to see the rear addition, just in regards to the separation between lots or buildings. And as you can see here, you can't even see the existing roof line because it's hidden. So the new addition will be 22 feet back. It'll be very difficult to see that addition. Can we go down to the next slide? So the green shaded area is what we're asking for in building height. It's mainly sloped, and it's very minor. Let's go to the next slide. And then there's the main wall height that we're asking for in green. The difference from that height to the platform at the back are within 15 feet. Can we go to the next slide? This is the side yard setback that we're asking for the deck, which is a platform. It's built right onto the ground. Go to the next slide. Again, this is another picture of the platform. very elevated. As you can see, it's at the top of the retaining wall. So you're looking down at the existing house. Go to the next slide. So the adjacent lot is actually zoned as a 2-story, whereas we're zoned as a 3-story. And you can tell mainly because their elevation, their front is elevated much higher than ours. So they would be easily approved, or not even approved. They won't even have to come to committee if they were to propose an addition onto that house, which would be overlooking our house. And it's mainly because of the established grade that is taken from the front of the property. Can we go to the next slide? And so you can see there's a tree there that's it's an issue right now that we're talking to tree protection about to remove or to trim, because it's slanted very heavily over where the new addition will be. So that was a comment that they've made that we're applying for at this point. And the last thing I would say is that you can see there's a lot of shadowing. The addition that we're going to be putting is right on top of that roof. Which
Sir, can you summarize, please?
Sure. No, that was the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be sure to answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next speaker on the list.
sorry,
I have Michael Krotowski. Are you there, sir? Mr. Krotowski,
Hello?
are you there?
I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Mike Krotowski. I live at 23 Dunraven Drive.
Okay, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Sure. So I have a couple of objections. Some context. We weren't made aware of our neighbor's plan to build this addition. We found out about it by receiving the letter from the city. That's our context. That's not a reason for objection. He doesn't owe us letting us know, but that's just context. Just want to, so my objections, I've written down to make it easier because I'm not used to this. So the building height will be 2 meters taller than it's currently. And despite what the applicant presentation claims on page 8, that it will not be visible, that's not true for the adjacent neighbors. 27 Dunraven is directly southwest from our house, which is in the path of the sun for us, between basically between autumn to spring. The photos in the applicant presentation on page 12 are very misleading. They make it actually appear that our house is taller than 27. For some reason, the triangular roof on 27 Dunraven is not even visible on that photo. I guess to summarize that, there's major impact on our sunlight into our property, and it affects our current privacy. Additionally, according to the arborist report, on page 10 of that report, tree number 1 will need to be cut down for the project to be carried out. That tree is directly between our property on 23 and his property on 27, and currently it's the only privacy block we have between the deck he's already built and our deck. Without that tree, we could almost shake hands, which I'm not happy with that. There's suffice to say that we weren't spoken with. Obviously, our concerns about privacy were not taken into account. I have spoken with our neighbor in the past. I've known him for quite a while. We've lived here for 19 years. We've consulted on a bunch of things previously. I actually gave him the idea to build the deck he's built, and it's a beautiful deck. I'm very happy he has it. That notwithstanding, our privacy concerns were not taken into account, so that's a thing. Additionally to the tree number 1, tree number 2 also in the arborist report is suggested to be injured. I'm not sure what injured means, but that tree is directly on the property line between 23 and 27. I'd always assumed it was on our property, but that's fine if it's just in the middle. But that's the absolute biggest tree in the backyards there among the neighbors, and I probably don't have any say on it, but I strongly object to that tree being affected in any way. I mean, I know it's not, I don't own that tree. It's a city tree, it's a ravine tree, but you know, not knowing the process, if I have any say, I do not like that tree being damaged. The last thing, probably meaningless, but I do not believe this complements current trends, which I read in the application as a criteria. 27 Dunraven is already the largest building on the entire street, and it dwarfs our house, which is probably among the smallest of the houses. So that's basically my objection. Key concerns being privacy and sunlight.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All the things I
Does
mentioned.
the committee have any questions of the speaker? Ms. McCloskey?
Yes, so just to clarify, so it's 2 units currently. So this would be just an extension to the second unit, adding 2 more bedrooms. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's for the 2 kids they have that they require their own bedrooms at this point.
Okay.
At the age
So
they're
it's
at.
existing tenants and okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ramirez, I'm sorry, are there any further questions? Are there any questions of Mr. Krotowski? Mr. Kumar?
Mr. Chair, I have a question. I have a question for Mr. Kotowski. Sir, would you be satisfied if your neighbor were to build a privacy fence along to separate his deck from yours? Or was that something that would be desirable for you or not?
To be reasonable, I would be amenable to such a thing, but I would make it. I don't know how. I've consulted with a construction associate of mine, and he warns me about things like this, where an applicant accepts a condition like this and then ends up not building it, pays their fine, and and I don't know if that's the case. I may be saying something very naive and stupid right now, but I'm afraid of such a thing because my neighbor unfortunately has proven to be a bit not true to his word in the past, so that's a concern of mine. But I want to be reasonable. I would be open to such a design as long as it was built and he couldn't just get away with paying a fine and not build it.
But it would be something that would be desirable to you. is what I want to know.
Possibly, yes.
Well, please, yes or no, because if I'm going to put in a condition, I want to know if I'm helping you or I'm not, because if I'm not,
Fair
I
enough.
won't do.
That's fair. That's fair. To the concern about privacy, yes, that covers off the concern of privacy. I don't know if it's a thing I can propose or say, but it appears that the addition has a triangular roof like the current building currently has, just an additional triangular roof. If that was a flat roof, it would necessarily not have to be quite as tall, and it would obstruct less of our view. I can't propose such a thing, but it's an idea.
That's a whole different story, and unfortunately, because we're doing these things virtually now and not in person, you guys can't really get together in the back hall and hash shit out. So
I get that.
Okay, but there are ways for us to ensure that conditions do get followed up on. So
okay, thank you. Any
I'll
further
leave it at
questions
that.
of the speaker?
Thank you.
Mr. Ramirez, you have the opportunity to address the concerns voiced by Mr. Krotowski.
Yeah, so in regards to privacy, we made an important purpose to not add any windows on his side. And his rear elevation is much elevated than ours. So like when he's standing in his backyard, he's kind of looking down at us. So I don't know if the fence would do any difference. And I think us considering the fact of not putting any windows there was really respecting the fact that the homeowner wanted that privacy as well. So that's why we didn't propose any windows on that side. And in regard to the tree, again, it's heavily slanted. Through any sort of heavy storm, I think it's going to get knocked down, and it's not going to be safe because it's going to fall on the existing home as it is now.
Okay.
That's it.
Any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kumrick?
With regards to the property to the rear, on Eileen. On your cross sections, you've illustrated your property, but you haven't really shown us how the height of your new build would relate to the height of the property at the rear. So what I'm trying to get at is, at that new height, are you going to be still below the ground level of the properties behind you on Eileen?
Yes.
Sure,
Sorry. Yes, we're there's actually, like, in one of the pictures I showed in my presentation, there's like, I don't have that information from the surveyor, but if you look at the presentation, you'll see there's a picture looking at the back of our house, and then there's another picture facing the rear fence.
Which
And
shows-
there's at least a good 10, I think maybe 7-foot retaining wall. If you keep going down, it's up. It's a second. I believe it's the second slide.
Yeah, it's the one with the two pictures, not one next to the
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
Yeah.
The one there.
Oh, yeah, you
The
went
one
past
to the
it.
right. Yeah.
Next one
One
down.
down. So the
Yeah,
one
right
in the
there.
yellow. The
So
yellow.
what is the height of that retaining wall? And it's not consistent, because I think one house is at one height, the other house is at a different height.
Yeah, so the surveyor didn't give us that information, but we do know that retaining wall is at least 6 to 7 feet high. So that would just be the ground, that would be the ground level, or the grass of the neighbor behind us. So to be honest with you, our roof pitch would probably be in line with that grass of the rear property.
I think your roof pitch will be well above that, but
it would be, again, we're the rear of our property is 33 feet from the front, but the actual peak is lower than that. Our addition is in line with that peak. If you look at the section on, I think the second slide kind of gives you a visual of that. So you see there, just go down a little. So you see there where that red dotted line ends. If you were to draw it across, we'll be hitting the beginning of our addition. However, that is the bottom of that retaining wall. That peak is at the bottom. I haven't included.
Okay, no, understood, but your addition is more than 7 feet tall.
Oh yeah, it's from again, I forgot.
So
exactly
it's misleading to say that the peak will be at their ground level, because it'll be well above.
We're adding about 7 feet from the existing house. And if you look at that drawing, if you were to zoom in, or in the drawings that we provided, we're adding 7 feet, and that retaining wall is about 7 feet. Again,
7 feet to what point? To finished ceiling or to peak?
To the peak. If you zoom right into that, onto the right side, you'll see the existing roof peak and then new roof peak. The drawings we submitted, you'll probably see it a little clearer, but it's
Well,
6 feet exact.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looks like your current height or main wall is at grade with the back, but okay.
Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
I'm prepared to move a motion approving, however, with some conditions. And sorry, forestry, sorry, just before I do that, forestry is requesting condition 3 and 1?
Yes. Let's take a look here.
Because I'm trying to find what city tree is being impacted by this.
Just condition number 3, payment in lieu. That's all.
No
they're
condition
asking.
number one.
That's all they're asking.
Why did I have? Okay. I would suggest we have to do condition number 2 as well, because it's obviously impacting private trees.
I'm sorry, what is condition number 2?
Condition 2 is to, injure or affect a private tree or two.
It will be subject to urban forestry. The only comment we have from urban forestry is a payment in lieu.
Okay.
We have nothing from urban forestry suggesting there's an injury to a tree.
Yeah, if I can, Chair, Parks, Forestry and Recreation have a memo dated July 2nd that refers to 2 specific applications, one of them being this one.
Okay, let me take a look. Could be ravine and natural features.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's ravine. And that is condition number 1. Yeah, permit. Yeah, I stand corrected, Mr. Kumaric. That was ravine and natural features protection. That was condition number 1, permit to injure or remove a privately owned tree.
Okay, so if we could attach all of those conditions. Also, the planning condition of tying it to the site plan. And I'm not sure where to go with the privacy thing now. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, so to summarize, Mr. Kumaric, subject to urban forestry and ravine natural features protection and city planning. There's no comments.
Yes.
City planning's condition.
Yes, that it's tied to the site plan submitted with regards to the 4th floor.
Okay, those 2 conditions. Someone to second that motion? Ms. McCloskey seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry, ravine natural features protection, and city planning conditions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, 4027 Bloor Street West. I have one person registered to speak. That is Sean McGaffey. Are you there?
Yes, I am, sir.
Yes, Mr. McGaffey, I'm just going through your file. I notice here that we have no comments or recommended conditions from staff. I think the committee is pretty clear on what you're asking for in the 5 variances we have before us. I'll just ask, is there anything that you'd like to add that isn't in the material that we have before us this morning?
I don't think so at this point, but of course, happy to answer any questions of the committee.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Motion to approve the application requested of them to be minor in nature and consistent with the 4 test.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ruddock. Someone to second that motion? Ms. McCloskey seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Item number 8. We have one person registered to speak. That's Hamza Hussein. This is 21 Brawley Avenue. Are you there, sir?
Hi.
Mr.
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yes, thank
Mr.
you,
Chair
sir. I
and
just
committee
wanted to ask, I noticed there are a couple of staff reports on file with your application. There is a recommended condition from Urban Forestry, and there's also a report from the 5th of July recommending that you modify variance number 4 for the proposed flat roof height to 7.5 meters. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and are you proposing to make those recommendations as contained in City Planning's report?
We have made changes, and the last proposal we made
Okay, so, sir,
were
if you could, if you're proposing to make changes, can you tell the committee go through each one and tell us which items are being changed?
so we had submitted revised plans. I know in this note they said we did not, but we had submitted them on July 6th, and so we had removed them. If you go to the comments in the report.
Okay, so we have to read it into the record, sir. So if you could tell the committee verbally what those changes are, can you go through each one?
Sure. The proposed flat roof height will reduce from 7.8 meters to 7.5 meters.
And that's on variance number 3. You're changing it from 7.8 meters to 7.5 meters?
That's correct. The second one is the proposed flat roof height reduced from 8.3 meters to 7.8
And that's
meters.
variance number 4?
That is correct.
You're changing
And
it from
the proposed,
just a moment, you're changing it from 8.3 meters to 7.8 meters?
that is correct.
And variance number 5, you're proposing to change that as well?
Yes, the proposed parapet height reduced from 1.1 meters to 0.6 meters, variance number 5.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to check. I believe those are the recommended changes from planning, if I recall. Yes, they are. Yes, those were the
Mr. Chair, if I may.
changes on page 3 of their report of the 5th of July. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else is there anything you'd like to add that isn't in the material that we have before us this morning?
No, the only one thing I would add is we're not doing anything extravagant. With these proposed heights, our ceiling for the second floor would be 9 feet. So if we have to reduce any further, we're reducing ceiling height.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kumrick?
I do. Just, Mr. Chair, I believe I have a note here that planning was asking for a further reduction to variance 4 down to 7.5. Is the applicant aware of that, or am I mistaken on this?
No, you're correct. I do see that above, and so we're asking for a variance to 7.8.
So planning is asking us to reduce variance 4 to 7.5, but your submission you want to keep it at 7.8.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, just wanted to be clear on that.
Is that correct, sir?
That is correct. Yes, that's why I'm saying if we were to remove another 30 centimeters, that's another foot of ceiling height, and we're only at 9 feet now.
But that's also the modification that's described on page 3 of the planning report, correct? Variance
Yes.
number 4.
Yes.
Okay, and it says, as such, the following variances have been revised only in principle and as agreed upon by the applicant. So you're not proposing to take it from 7.8 meters to 7.5 meters, as Mr. Kumrick suggests.
No, we are not. We are staying at 7.8 meters.
Okay, so you may want to give a reason for that before we proceed any further.
The reason is exactly that, as I've mentioned. We're at 9 feet ceiling height. If we reduce it another 30 centimeters, now we're going to 8 foot. We would like to stay at 7.8.
Sir, we're having trouble hearing you. You have to speak up.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. So it's the same reason. At these proposed heights, our ceiling would be 9 foot. And if we're not doing anything extravagant or decorative, if we're going to remove another 30 centimeters, then our ceiling height would be only 8 feet.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this revised application, please? Could I get a motion, please? Mr. Palmer?
Neil Palmer, I'll move for approval. Variances requested as revised, meet the 4 tests in the Planning Act. So just to be clear, variance 3 is 7.5 meters. Variance 4 is 7.8 meters. And variance 5 is 0.6 meters. And that's per the revised plans dated July 6th. And no other conditions.
There's an urban forestry condition, Mr. Palmer.
Is there? Okay. Oh, I missed that one. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Palmer's motion? Ms. McCloskey seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much, committee members.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a 5-minute break, or would you like longer? 5 minutes, okay? Okay, thank you.
time, members. We're going to start again whenever you're ready.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, committee's back in session. We're now on item number 9, 21 Dartmouth Crescent. I have 3 people registered to speak. The first person is the agent, and Arash Darvish. Are you there, sir?
Yes, it's Arash Darvish. I'm here on behalf of number 21 Dartmouth Crescent.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Could I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Arash Darvish, and my address is 189 Royal Orchard Boulevard, L3T31. It's in Thornhill, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give the, we have 2 other persons registered to speak, sir, so if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal. Before you start, I note that we only have 1 set of comments on file for your application. That's from Urban Forestry, and they have recommended conditions. So if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on the merits of your proposal.
Hi, just one thing, because I got a hold of most of the neighbors that they had complaints about it, except one her name is Deborah Lomers, that she's out of town. I was wondering if I can defer this committee to the next committee so I get a time to speak to them.
Sir, if you could give us a presentation, please.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Kumar?
Yes, if it's possible.
Mr. Chair, I believe the applicant is asking for deferral, and Forestry is actually recommending deferral as well.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kumrick, I didn't get you there. I'm sorry.
I believe Forestry, in addition to their conditions, is asking for deferral to further speak to the applicant, and the applicant is now asking us to defer this application.
Oh, you are correct, Mr. Kumrick. Thank you very much. You're right. I'll just, I'm sorry, we'll go back to Mr. Darvish, sir. Are you asking for a deferral to consult with Urban Forestry? Okay, thank you. We'll just,
yes, if it's possible.
Okay, so we have to discuss it. I have to ask the other deputants if they're in favor of a deferral, if you could just hold on. I have the next person registered to speak, and thank you, Mr. Kumrick, for clarifying that. I have a Deborah Lammers. Are you there? Deborah Lammers, are you there? Deborah Lammers, are you there? L-A-M-E-R-S.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, hi, I'm Deborah Lamers, 14 Dartmouth Crescent.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, the applicant is requesting a deferral in order that he can discuss some issues with Urban Forestry. Do you have an objection to that?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Being none, I'll go to the next registered speaker, Frank Bellotta. Are you there?
Frank, you can go ahead and voice
your opinion on the deferral, okay?
Mr. Balata, are you there?
Yep, right now.
Well, they're talking right now.
Yes, hello, sir. Do you have the applicant is requesting a deferral so that he can discuss some issues that have been raised by urban forestry. Do you have an objection to that deferral?
Right.
Yes, I am.
Frank, the chair was asking if you have an objection to the deferral.
No, I don't have an objection to the deferral. I just, he said he reached out to the neighbors. I'm the immediate neighbor behind them.
No,
and he didn't reach out to me. So.
Sorry, Frank, sorry to interrupt. I said to you that he was requesting to defer the application to consult with the neighbors. Not that,
sure.
not that he had consulted with the neighbors. It's to consult with the neighbors.
Okay, so I'm fine with that.
Okay. Mr. Balata, do you have an objection to him deferring the application to discuss with urban forestry?
He's good.
Okay, he's okay. Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go back.
I have just, oh, sorry, not that speaker, no, sorry. It's the applicant I want to speak
We'll go back to the applicant. Mr. Darvish, are you there, sir?
Yes.
Okay, you would like to defer your application. Got to get a motion from committee on deferring your application to discuss with urban forestry.
I'll move a motion for the applicant to defer so the applicant can discuss with urban forestry and the neighbors.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a motion from Mr. Kumrick to defer the application to discuss it with urban forestry as well as the abutting neighbors. Ms. Ruddick, are you in favor of that? Yes, thank you. So, all those in favor? That motion carries with Ms. Ruddick seconding. Sir, your application's been deferred to the next available date so that you can meet with urban forestry and discuss your proposal with the surrounding neighbors.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're now on item number 10, 32 Warback Place. I have two people registered to speak. First is the agent, Cindy McPhee. Are you there, Ms. McPhee?
Yes, good morning. I'm here to speak. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, hello, madam. Thank you. I note that the only comments we have on file with your application are from Transportation Services, which has an undated report, which indicates that they have no objection to your proposal. We do have one other person registered to speak on your application, so if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our proposal in front of the committee today is for a application 2 minor variances. The first one is the minimum front yard setback. So what we're proposing here is at the existing home, on the existing front wall, is to build up a higher roof. So we're extending that wall to be at a higher height, and the new wall built on top of the existing front wall is being deemed in the infraction. And the existing front yard setback is the 8.12 meters. So that is the first minor variance that we're asking for. The second is just for the parking space that we are asking for a minor variance to permit a smaller parking size. And I believe it's approximately 1.57 inches too small in width. And that is the 2 minor variances that we're requesting today.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have Ho-Sun Cho. Are you there? Last name is spelled C-H-O-E. Hello, can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
Ho-Sun Cho, 34 Warback Place.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you could give us your thoughts on this application, please.
Yes, sir. I've been living here for 27 years, and I enjoy my privacy. And my lot is in a pie shape, and the proposed build is facing about 3/4 of one side. And if you were to look at my house, my back side of the house is facing south, and it's mostly windows. So my kitchen, my dining room, and living room are facing back side. So when I looked at the proposed structure, there are 2 large windows which will look directly into my backyard and backside of my house, kitchen and living room and dining room. So I'd like to propose that those are 2 windows not to be built, so just a complete wall. Because when you look at the structure, there's a balcony being built on one end, and there's also a larger window facing the street. So there are more than enough light going into that structure. And so for the sake of privacy, I'd like to propose that no windows are being built to face my backyard. And I used to have a swimming pool, and I'm considering that I may rebuild a swimming pool for my exercise during the COVID. But even without that, it's going to look right into my house and the entire backyard.
Okay, thank you,
So
sir.
those are my concerns. Yeah.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the agent. Ms. McPhee, are you there?
Yes, thank you. We understand the neighbors' objections. However, we would like to point out to the panel that the wall and the openings within that wall that are that are being mentioned here are fully permitted by the zoning bylaw and not a part of our minor variance application. The distance between the property line and the neighbor's home is pretty significant. On the site plan, it measures about 7 meters. And we are proposing this new wall mentioned to be at the permitted setback. So we do understand the idea of privacy. However, we feel that the significant distance between the houses is would be able to solve that.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Ms. McCloskey?
So just to confirm, so you would not consider removing the windows on that side of the home where your neighbor's concerned?
Well, in terms of the design of the house, we feel like that, so it is for a bedroom. I think privacy goes both ways, right? We will want privacy within that bedroom as well. And we feel that they're, permitted to be there, right? We don't feel like we want to give up part of the bedroom design for a privacy issue, which I know will go both ways for sure. Blinds, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
I'm prepared to make a motion to approve this application. I find it to be minor in nature and consistent with the board test.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Reddick. I have a motion from Ms. Reddick to move approval of the application. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Palmer seconds.
Neil
All those
Palmer.
in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to, without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11, 3 Beaverbrook Avenue. I have 3 people registered to speak. The first is the agent, Anthony Del Grosso. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, committee members.
Yes, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Anthony Del Grosso, 406 Horsham Avenue.
Okay, thank you. I note that there's a couple of staff reports on file with your application, one from the 6th of July from Transportation Services. They appear to have no objection to your application. There's also some recommended urban forestry condition from forestry. We have other people registered to speak on your application, sir, so if you'd like to give the committee a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure, yes. So what we're proposing is a new build, two-story. One of the variances are the floor space index, and the reason for this is basically to have a more desirable floor space or, living area for today's living or today's style of homes. The second is the height. One of them is height, and the reason for this, again, is to avoid any slope ceilings on the second floor, because we do have 9-foot ceilings, and I believe 9'6" on the ground. So today's houses are actually 10 and 9 or 8, and so we'd like to keep the 9-foot ceilings if possible, so that this avoids any slopes on the ceilings. And the third variance is basically, parking space. This is because we are relocating the driveway from Beaverbrook. And as transportation said, this is less impact on Beaverbrook. It is a bus route, temporary sometimes, so getting in and out of that driveway is a hassle sometimes. So we'd like to move it to Thornley Crescent, and that's our variances basically.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move to the next person on the list. I have Witold Bielinski. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Mr. Chair, before we move on, I just want to get a clarification on that third variance, because the variance states that the parking should be from the flanking street, and Thornbury is the flanking street. So I'm a little bit confused. Where's the front? Is the front entrance on Beaverbrook?
Right now, the driveway is on Beaverbrook, so we'd like to move it to.
No, I understand what you want to do, and I guess it's really a question for staff. I'm trying to clarify because vehicle access to a parking space on a corner lot must be from a flanking street. Well, if your property is on Beaverbrook and you're proposing to move it, then are you not in fact complying with that, and do we even need that variance?
I'm on your side. I don't know, I guess.
Well, I just want to get a clarification from staff how that's being interpreted, if that's possible.
Hello, sir. Are you there?
Yes. I'm not sure how to answer that. Are we waiting for
No,
staff?
I'm not asking you. I'm asking our staff. Sorry.
Sorry, it's Sophia. Just to clarify, so the transportation memo does not indicate that it's from a flanking street. So I think that the transportation memo, particularly the last paragraph, seems to explain it in terms of what the proposal is. That indicates that it's from a fronting street.
Ms. Ruddock's correct. If you look at the transportation memo, the vehicle access on a corner lot is permitted from a flanking street that is not a major street. However, the proposed vehicle access is from the fronting street. The vehicle access, which is subject to the above noted variance, is located on Thornley. Proposed location for the vehicle represents a deviation from the zoning bylaw. They're both designated, both Thornley and Beaverbrook Avenue are designated as local streets under the road classification system. Beaverbrook provides a direct connection to Kipling Avenue, which is designated as a major arterial. From a transportation perspective, there is less impacts associated with the Thornley Crescent access when compared to a Beaverbrook Avenue access, so that's why they have no objection.
Mr. Chair, I understand that. I've read that, and maybe I shouldn't even be raising this, but it's just a clarification. Does this house front on Beaverbrook or does it front on Thornley?
Right now, the front door is on Beaverbrook. It faces Beaverbrook, so we'd like to move it to Thornley.
And you're going to move it to Thornley?
Yes.
Okay, maybe that's the reason for that variance. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so right now the building fronts on Beaverbrook, correctly, sir?
Yes, the front door, yes, faces Beaverbrook.
Yeah, so the frontage changed to Thornley. Okay, I have, any further questions of the speaker? I have next person on the list, Mr. Witold Belinsky. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Witold Belinsky, 14th Thornley Crescent, Etobicoke, Ontario.
Okay, if you could give us your thoughts on this application, please.
So I have concerns related to variance number 3. So presently, this house has a front and driveway coming on BEAVERBROOK, and proposed application moves front and driveway and garage into Thornley, which is exactly opposite to my side yard, where I spend most of the time during the summer. So I'm concerned about increased traffic and noise coming into Thornley, which I rather preserve the status quo of the house having driveway on Beaverbrook Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. Are those your comments just about relocating the driveway?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have looks like Julian Canau. I
Yes.
Caunei.
Kaunei.
Yeah,
Good day.
Name and address, please, sir.
Yeah, my name is Julian Kaunei, and my address is 12 Thornley Crescent, Etobicoke, Mary 9 Bravo to Mary 5.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to comment on the floor space. I do not agree with this application, but and also the height. That's a weak argument that the representative for the client gives. Both of them, to be honest with you. And I guess the city should resist against this push for maximizing the occupancy of the lot. That's my recommendation on this one. And the biggest one is the number 3, the bylaw for the vehicle to a parking space on a corner. And I agree with my neighbor, Mr. Belinsky, that I would like to maintain the status quo. It is a quiet crescent, the street, and added traffic on that street. It's not good. There's quite a few kids on that street. So.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to Mr. Del Grosso. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am, yes.
Sir, if you've heard the comments from the previous speakers, if you'd like to reply to it.
Yes, I heard. I guess I just want to mention, we would be the first driveway on the street. So really, we're not going down the street. If there are children playing, they would be too close to a main street, and there would only be one car or 2 cars coming in. It's not like major traffic. And again, just repeating, we are the first driveway as you come into Thornley at this point. It's not going down the street at all.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. McCloskey?
I'll move to approve the application, consider it minor in nature and meets the 4 tests, subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Okay, thank you, Ms. McCloskey. Someone to second Ms. McCloskey's. Ms. Ruddock seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, committee. Have a great.
Now on item number 12, 118 Prichard Avenue, I have one person registered to speak, George DeCunha. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, Mr. DeCunha, I just wanted to ask, there is a couple of reports here. One from
Right.
City Planning dated the 28th of June. It's recommending your application be refused. There's also a report from Transportation Services dated the 9th of July. It can't support the application. It's requesting a setback of the proposed building. In view of these comments, would you like to defer the application to discuss this with the affected agencies?
Yes, I would like to defer the application.
Okay, thank you. I have a request from the applicant to defer the application. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on the deferral request, please?
I move that we accept the applicant's request for the deferral.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ruddick. I have a motion to defer the application. Someone to second that. Ms. McCloskey seconds. All those in favor? All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application is unanimously deferred so that you can meet with City Planning and Transportation Services. Good luck, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 13, 69 Willingdon Boulevard.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, the applicant is not on the line, but I believe.
I'm sorry, Ms. Sortos.
I believe Laura is here to speak on behalf of the application because there is no agent that's
Hang on just a
online.
moment.
So I'm just gonna unmute her to confirm.
For item number 13.
Yeah, Laura. Hi.
Yes, I'm here to speak in regards to 69 Willingdon. I am the daughter of the applicant. This was my grandmother's home until she
okay.
passed away.
So you'll be speaking on behalf of the application.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, my mother sent in a letter authorizing me to speak on her behalf.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just a moment. We're on
Yeah.
item number 13, 69 Willingdon Boulevard. I have 4 people registered to speak, 5 people registered to speak. Again, I'm sorry, Ms. Sortos, the agent, do we have their name?
Yes, it's Laura, the second name on your list.
Oh, okay.
She'll be speaking on behalf of the application.
Okay. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It's not 5 people, 4 people registered to speak. I have Laura Powaduk. Are you there, madam?
Yep.
Can I
Yes,
get
that's
your-
me. Yes.
Yes, thank you, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Laura Tomolka Pawadik. I am at 65 Willingdon Boulevard.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you could, if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal, but before you start, I note
Yes.
that there are 2 reports, two municipal reports on file with your application. One from Transportation Services dated the 6th of July. They appear to have no objections to your application as regards to the parking stall length. There's one
Correct.
from City Planning dated the 28th of June. They're recommending refusing variance number 4 for the proposed number of stories for an ancillary structure. Now, in view of that, madam, would you like to consider deferring your application to discuss this further with City Planning?
I did discuss this with City Planning already. I presented to them similar properties with the ancillary structures very close to exactly what we are trying to propose here today. And they said this is what the Committee of Adjustments is for and to proceed.
Okay, thank you.
So,
all right, then if you could give.
Sorry,
if
Chairman.
If you could give the committee
Neil
a
Plummer.
presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
I believe Mr. Plummer has a question in advance of that.
No,
Sorry,
do
Chairman,
you have a
can I
presentation?
just-
Do you have a presentation you'd like to give the committee?
I do, yes, but one of the committee members has their hand up for a question, sir.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, Chairman. Before we proceed, can I just get clarification from staff on variance 1 to make sure that the notice is correct. Because it appears that they've listed in variance 1 about the GFA and the FSI. The variance requested only refers to the FSI and not the GFA. Can we get clarification from staff that we're okay to proceed with that the notice is in fact correct?
Okay.
And what variance we'd be authorized to approve? Are we just authorizing the FSI and not the GFA?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the application is in on a waiver. They've identified their own variances, and that's the risk you run when you make an application based on your own review of the zoning bylaw. Staff have no opinion as to whether or not the waiver is correct or not. It's the way that it was submitted.
Okay, I don't know if that, does that clarify anything for you, Mr. Palmer?
Just makes the variance requested unclear in my mind. Because the way it's worded is if we approve it, we would be approving the FSI but not the GFA, which I don't know if that's correct or not.
Oh, Mr. Chair, through you, if the committee has concern with the presentation of the variances as described by the applicant, the committee can defer the application and request that the applicant obtain zoning review through the city.
Wait, did we not do zoning review through the city? I'm pretty sure we did a zoning review through the city because we had adjusted our plan and modified our proposal based on a review from the city.
Madam, you understand that if there's an error on your application, as you know, Mr. Palmer suggests requires some further clarity. If there's an error on the application, then you'll have to come back before the committee again to correct that. So it's up to you if you want to proceed. You have
yes.
You have that recommended refusal from city planning. If you want to proceed, then you have to understand that if there is an error on your application, you'll be back before the committee. You understand that?
Yeah. Yes, I understand that.
Okay, so you would like to proceed?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so do you want to make a presentation to the committee on your proposal?
Yes, I would. I've prepared something
Then please do that. And you've heard the question from Mr. Palmer, and perhaps you can elaborate on that, and he'll get his question answered through your presentation.
Yeah, I can address it first before I proceed. I believe what you're referring to is
Madam, can you just start, make your presentation?
Sure.
Okay, and
sure.
We'll follow up with questions if we have any.
Wonderful. Okay. So as I said, I live at 65 Willingdon Boulevard. I have been here since 2015. 69 Willingdon Boulevard was my grandmother's home until she passed away in 2018. And we have decided to renovate this home to be our forever home. Our proposal is to add a third floor into the existing attic. We would not be increasing the height of the home or removing the roof, but this would allow us to have a 4-bedroom home with rooms big enough for our children to have desks, and also a bedroom with a bathroom for my aging mother-in-law. The second part of our proposal is to increase the height of the garage. The existing height of the garage is 14 feet 8 inches. We are asking to increase to 18 feet 11 inches, which is a 29% increase. It's a half-story increase. In our plans that we have included is that you can see the difference of these heights drawn on the garage structure. There are 9 similar properties all within the immediate area and are in the walking distance. I have sent maps and images of those properties. I was able to speak with most of the owners of those homes. 66, they're listed as 66 Grandview Boulevard, which was at the Committee of Adjustments in 2018 and approved, and it was built in 2019. 50 Government Road, 52 King George's Road, 347 Prince Edward Drive, which was approved approximately 15 years ago. 2 Thorndale Avenue, which is a full coach house with plumbing and living accommodations, 105 Kingsway Crescent, 49 King George's Road, which is an existing coach house that was built way back when this area was built. And that coach house was actually rebuilt when the owners of that home did a renovation about 5 or 6 years ago. And then the other 2 in the area are 16 King George's Road and 12 King George's Road. They both have plumbing and were approved 15 years ago, approximately. So this style of garage has been in the immediate area for a while now. We are very aware of our neighbors' privacy. We, especially at on the south and the north of us, at 67 Willingdon Boulevard is the south of us, and we blocked in 3 windows on the main home to provide more privacy into our kitchen, because he has a kitchen window looking directly into ours, so we blocked it in. We also blocked in a window on the north side, which was looking directly into 71 Wellington Boulevard. The person who owned the home prior to my grandmother had put that in illegally, so we blocked it off. So we are looking for, with this proposal, we are looking for additional storage space in the garage. My husband's 1,000-person company that he works for has just announced they will not be going back into work in the office again. They will permanently be doing a hybrid model and only allowing employees into the office 1 to 2 times a week. And the way the world works now has permanently changed, and our housing needs need to adapt to the additional demands to work from home. So we are looking for this additional space to allow for storage and an office. As you said, Chairman, that the transportation has no objection to the length of the garage, as we have a sufficient driveway of 32 meters to park cars in. The length of the garage actually is not long enough to even park a car in as it stands. We did take the plans to all of our neighbors. And in addition to the 5 letters of support that have been sent in, we have the full support of the neighbors behind us at 62 Jackson Avenue. They are elderly, and both Dawn and Mary Margaret McInnes have been to the property on multiple occasions to go over the plans. Their last remark to me was a couple days ago before they went back up to their cottage and said that they were not able to attend, but they said they were very excited to see the final product and they support everything that we are doing. Additionally, we won't be removing the tree in the backyard. That was a concern for the neighbors behind us. And we advise that we have no intentions of removing that tree. We actually have plans on planting a row of trees on the north side of the property. Madam, can you summarize,
please?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. And I've gone over the letters of objection, but we can address that later if you would like.
Okay, thank you very much. I had a question, Madam. I'm looking.
Yes.
So the purpose of this addition over the garage, it's to be used for habitable space?
So it would be to put storage so that we could use the main area of the garage as an office and entertainment area. As you'll see, our backyard is quite small. So in the proposal, we have a fireplace proposed, as well as a little patio area that would walk into the garage. And we would like to use part of that main floor of the garage as office space and as an entertainment area, and have the upstairs of the garage as storage. Similar to what some of the other properties are doing with their spaces like this.
And I was looking at on your title sheet that was submitted with your by your engineering firm, and outside the garage there's a structure outside it would be the adjacent the exterior door to the garage, the side door.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Looks like
that was a proposed fireplace.
Okay, so if the garage is just being used for storage, why is there a fireplace there?
Oh, it's outdoors. The fireplace is outdoors. That would be on our patio, directly beside the garage.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Diane Chilati. Are you there? Ms. Chalotti,
Oh.
CELOTTI.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Yes, it's actually, hello, Mr. Chairman. It's actually a Cara Chalotti. I will be representing Diane Chalotti, and we have that on file.
Okay,
Good
thank
morning.
you. Could you give us your full name and address, please?
Of course, it's Cara Chalotti. I'm at 58 Jackson Avenue in Etobicoke.
Okay, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. Again, I'm representing Diane Chalotti, who's at 58 Jackson Avenue. It's one of the properties that's behind on the other side of Willingdon. In fact, it's one property away from the subject property that we're looking at this morning. Diane's property, she's lived there for decades, and again, it's close by. She's able to see the existing house as well as the garage from her property. Diane has grave concerns with respect to this specific application, which we are looking at this morning, feels that the variances are minor in regard and that it fails the remaining tests as well. And she's also concerned with respect to the highly unusual and undesirable precedent that this would set in the community. Planning has done us the courtesy of explaining that the Kingsway is part of the designated neighborhoods according to the official plan. And although I applaud Laura's efforts in attempting to find different examples of garages that are similar to the one that they're proposing, I would argue that no, that the garages that she has found are not similar to the one that she is proposing. In particular, if we look at the one that she references, which is 66 Grenview, and again, she submitted a number of pictures of these, so I don't know if the moderator is able to pull those up or not. But with respect to 66 Grenview, for example, which she references, it's true that this was passed by the committee in 2017, and I pulled that file, or I was able to get a hold of that decision. And it's file number 8075517EYK, just for reference. I can tell you that that property, in fact, has a proper rear yard setback, whereas the one they're proposing has a setback of 0 meters, actually no setback whatsoever. And if we look at the site plan that they've submitted for 69 Willington, you'll see at the very back of it, if you enlarge it, you'll see that the existing garage, as well as the proposed garage, is right at the lot line. In fact, it actually slightly encroaches on the neighbor to the back, to the rear of them. And whereas in contrast, 66 Willington had a proper backyard setback, it had a side yard setback, and it was also shorter than the one that they're proposing. The proposed garage at 69 Willington, when you look at the plans, is a full 2-story building. You can tell that it's a full two-story building because when you look at the plans, and if I could get the moderator to pull up the site plans for this property, you'll see from the site plans that on the second floor, the square footage is almost equal to the is essentially equal to the square footage below. And therefore, it is definitely a full 2-story building. You can also see that at the exterior walls, the height of the exterior walls are also practically full height walls. So it's definitely a full 2-story building with practically a flat roof. This is definitely in contrast with the prevailing character of the neighborhood of the Kingsway. The neighborhood of the Kingsway has detached garages which have a slight slope, and generally the walls are typically just a little bit higher than a fence. In this particular instance, if you go ahead just a couple of pages here, you'll see that the plans actually call for a full height wall, which is going to be, on the back of somebody's property. This should be concerning for the neighbor to the rear. Now, although Laura has indicated they have verbal, consent from the neighbors behind them, that's not on file. And my understanding is that they're simply not providing, a comment in writing. So, but nonetheless, it's going to provide sorry, this is the house. If we go ahead a couple more plans, we can see the garage. And we will see just a couple more pages. We'll see that in the back, here, for example, just this one. You'll see at the back of the garage, this is a full height wall on the second story. It's a full second floor. This means that the people behind them are going to be looking at a full height wall, which is approximately 18 feet high by 18 feet wide. So that's a substantial barrier in the back of somebody's yard. From a desirability perspective, I don't think anybody would want this, let alone in the neighborhoods of Kingsway or anywhere else. It's a full height wall, and that is just simply not desirable. Also, again, with respect to the variances, it's right on the lot line and or encroaches, so that's got to be a major variance in my view. You're only supposed to be building a 1-story ancillary building. This is a full 2-story building, and that was one of the concerns raised by planning. So again, it's a full 2-story instead of a 1-story, which in my mind is a major variance and should not be approved. Now, again, with respect to some of the properties that the applicant contends are similar, some of them, for example, are on corner lots. So although the garage may appear big, it still has a sloped roof, and then you access the garage directly from the streetscape. So in one of the pictures, for example, at 50
Madam, can you
Government.
summarize, please?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I guess my point is that it fails the 4 test. The variances are major. Planning has indicated that it's inconsistent with the official plan. It doesn't meet what's going on with the neighborhood. It would set an extremely poor precedent, and I think the houses on Jackson are the ones that have most to lose.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to our next person on the list. I have a David Michael Komanek. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is David Komanek. My address is 67 Willingdon Boulevard.
Okay, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application, and I emphasize, sir, please don't repeat material we've already heard.
Okay, let me just say then I'm very grateful for the ability to be able to stand in front of you. I agree entirely with the lady that just spoke, Kara. Everything she said is true. I happen to be living exactly next door. The garage that is existing there now is right on the corner of my lot. And I will be severely impacted. Both my wife and I will be severely impacted if this project is permitted to go forward. We will lose all of our privacy. My wife and I spend a lot of time in gardening and in our backyard, and it will make a major, big difference. I think, you know, not to repeat a whole lot, but we felt very fortunate to have been able to find this house. And if there was a 2-car garage there already, I wouldn't have purchased the house. The neighborhood, which is very desirable, has the character and charm. It's very eloquent, and I would like it to stay in a similar fashion. And I just look at it and I think they claim that these renovations and everything were minor. I think they're major in every way. This particular house has already had a 2-story second addition put on it prior to this, when the grandmother owned the house. The grandmother, you know, told me that she wanted to keep the house, but didn't want to do anything with it other than just the addition that was put on. I don't want to be a bad neighbor or have hard feelings with people, but I believe that what Kara said is true. It will set a precedent that's very harming to the neighborhood. I happen to have, I mean, it's the garage and everything will be looking into the bedrooms in our backyard, in our home. And I can just say that I believe it'll adversely affect the character and the look of this neighborhood. And I beg you all not to allow this to go forward.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have Mary McLaurin Val, V-A-L-L-E. Are you there? Mary McLaurin Val, V-A-L-L-E.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Mary McLaurin Valley. I live at 64 Jackson Avenue.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application, again, please don't repeat material we've already heard.
I support the previous speakers, Kara and David. I do believe that adding the second floor to the garage at 69 Willingdon really destroys the green space vista, the sight lines, and the open view that we all enjoy from our backyards. More importantly, I do really feel the second floor addition does encourage ancillary living spaces, especially you know, my biggest concern is rental opportunities in the future as these many garages start to, if we do allow this second floor with plumbing and so on, I feel it really is the worst precedent that could be set for the neighborhood. I also feel the current maximum height of a detached garage is 1 story, and that's really for a good reason. And I do feel this bylaw should be upheld for the sake of the entire neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to the agent. Madam, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yes, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to respond.
Sure. In regards to Kara speaking on behalf of Diane, they are 2 properties away, not 1 property away. We're not asking to set a new precedent. There are many examples of garages exactly the same. 62 Jackson does not have any objections. They've been on the site. Their garage is set back quite a bit from ours. And so unfortunately, they did not write a letter as they are going up north. It's not a full 2nd story. In regards to 67 Willingdon Boulevard, he lives in Florida most of the year, but he has been here for a couple months. I have been very open with him. I've called him before about the proposal when he was still in Florida before he had come back. But they do have a 2nd story balcony that does look directly into our backyard. In addition, I just want to clarify that this the addition that was done on this home was done prior to my grandmother purchasing it. I think she purchased it in 2009. So, and most houses on this street have that addition already done. Our house at 65 does not have it, but most of them do. And as I said, this is not a precedent we're trying to set. There's already many in this area, and we did not design it to be a livable space. As you can see, there's no shower in there. We're not intending to rent this out. It's a small enough backyard as it is. We have 2 children and a dog. We would not have any desire to have a rental in there. This is our forever home. We're looking for additional space, not for tenants. So I'm not sure why there's a concern of that. I've been very clear that that's not something that we would ever do. It's like we would no rentals.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
Just one brief question. You're indicating the 2nd floor is for storage. Just wondering why you're putting in windows in?
Well, we were trying to keep in line with the other designs in the area. We wanted to have some natural light up there. As you can see, if you look at some of the other designs of others that have been built in the area, they do have those windows. We were just trying to make it look like it fit the character of the neighborhood. And we just thought it'd be nice to put in natural light or like a skylight so that we wouldn't have to have additional light. If we do have all of our storage stuff up there, it'd be easier for us to see. But we could do a skylight instead of a window.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please, Mr.
I've got one more question. Sorry, should have coupled this together. Do we have a separation of the square footage for what variance you would require for the house addition only? Because I believe.
Just give me a second.
Yeah, we have it 1 second.
Yeah, sorry, I believe we have it. I think it's on the stats that we had sent in, but let me just see if I can pull that up on my computer here. Give me one moment. Sorry, Stan. Oh, sorry, it's really hard to read. It should be there. Okay, so the existing detached garage is 30.25 meters squared. Sorry, it's really tiny. At 325.61 square feet. The addition is 28.77 meters squared, and it would be looking for total proposed 635.29 square feet. The proposed GFA, I believe that's the full everything, correct? Is the 3,488.58 square feet. With the garage.
Okay,
so we to subtract the 635 from that number would give us the house versus the garage.
Okay, so in variance 1, the 0.7 times coverage includes the garage area. Correct? Is that correct?
Correct.
And so what would it be without the garage?
Without the garage, sorry, I'll have to just,
Because if that's, so you're subtracting then 28 from the 328, so it would be 300 square meters roughly.
roughly, yes. For the attic, the attic would give, okay, the building stats totals. So the detached garage would be a total of 635.29 square feet. Then you're asking about the attic. The attic is 590.
Madam,
That's okay. That's okay. No, I'm just trying to get an idea, because I've got a problem with that variance number 1 in terms of what the numbers are actually are.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to approve something, but I'm not sure what I'm going to approve, because we can't figure out the number.
What's that square footage in the attic?
I have serious concerns about the second floor on the garage, primarily because of a 0 lot line, primarily because you do have a very small backyard to start with, and that's going to increase the density there. I think a lot of the coach houses have to be looked at as each specific situation and not as a general trend or precedent. And for that reason, I support what planning is saying. In fact, I would take it a step further, and I would suggest we refuse 3, 4, and 5. And I would like to move a motion to approve 1 and 2, but I'm trying to figure out what the new numbers are, because with planning.
Mr. Kumrick, I think that if you refuse variance number 4, which is what's recommended by planning, obviously it's going to have an impact on variance number 1. Because that's going to
I understand, but if
it's going to affect.
But if we leave variance, one as it is, without tying this to drawings, maybe that's the solution. Then we're approving a higher density that we're actually intending to approve.
So you're so you're proposing to make a motion to approve variances 1 and 2, but refuse variances 3, 4, and 5.
Correct, but also variance 1 should in fact be amended.
Okay, but we don't know what that figure should be.
That's the problem.
If the figure is there in the building plan for the attic is 55.68.
Madam, you've already spoken. We're in committee now, so.
Sorry.
We're Mr. Kumrick's trying to make a motion, so if I could get Mr. Kumrick to clarify his motion.
Well, short of sitting down and recalculating this, which is not fair to all the applicants that are waiting behind this item, what I think I'll do with the motion then is I will recommend approval of variances 1 and 2, subject to them being tied to the drawings submitted, and refuse the following 3 variances. That would be my motion.
Okay, so yeah, so approve variances 1 and 2 tied to plans, and variances 3, 4, and 5 refused. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, someone to second that motion? That motion doesn't carry.
Can I just,
sorry, Ms. McCloskey?
Yeah, just ask a question. So, because if we do approve 1, and it is referencing the FSI, which would, oh, I guess it doesn't change because it's storage. Never mind.
Okay, someone
Yeah,
second Mr. Kumrick's motion? That motion does not carry. Can I get another motion? Mr. Palmer?
Yeah, I'm going to move for refusal of all of the variances requested. I don't find them minor. I don't find that they meet the 4 tests in the Planning Act. And the application itself is just not very clear. So can't support any of the variances requested in the
Okay, we have a
application.
motion for Mr. Palmer to refuse the application. Get someone to second that. Ms. Ruddock seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Opposed? Mr. Kumrick opposed. Madam, your application has been refused. Thank you very much. Item number 14, 23 River Cove Drive. I have two people registered to speak. I have the agent, Corinne Kulish. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, Ms. Kulish. I just want to ask, I have a couple of reports here from the city on file with your application. One dated the 24th of June from City Planning, indicating they have no objections to your application, provided that all new windows shall be constructed with bird-friendly treatments. New exterior light fixtures shall be dark sky compliant, and new planting on the subject site and along the street frontage shall be of native species. We also have a report from, or not a report, there's obviously a permit issued from the TRCA dated the 5th of March 2021, so they have no objection to your application. We do have another person who'd like to speak on your application, madam, so if you'd like to make us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure. Our proposal is to construct one-story addition at the front of the house and at the rear of the existing one-story house, and a rear wood deck. The subject lot is unique. It is irregular shape. It slopes down from northeast corner to southwest corner by 11 meters, and it backs onto TRCA regulated area. It's surrounded by mature trees. TRCA requires to be a 10-meter setback from the stable top of slope. So geotechnical investigation was conducted at the very start of the project in order to identify long term of stable top of slope. Arborist prepared a report and tree preservation plan. All trees on the lot will be preserved and protected during the construction. Based on those reports and our design, we have obtained CRCA permit, as you mentioned. There are 4 minor variances we ask for. Variances 1 and 2 relate to house depth and length. And as the house is irregular shape, the lengths vary from 6.5 meters to 19 meters. Variance number 3 is for the increased height of the rear deck. Important information here to consider is that the grade of the lot slopes down towards southwest. So the ground floor elevation is half a meter above the grade at the front of the house, but 3 meters at the rear of the house. And the proposed rear wood deck is at the ground level, at the existing ground level. It will be elevated 1.6 meter above grade at the north side of the deck and 3.3 meter at the south side of the deck. Variance number 4 related to wood stair and deck encroachment onto stable stop of slope minimum setback. I would like to clarify that wood deck and stair will have only 4 points of support from the ground by sono footings. TRCA has reviewed our submission and didn't have any concerns with this and issued permits. So we ask that those 4 minor variances are approved. That's my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. I'll go to the next person on the list. I have an Anne-Marie Zonda. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Anne-Marie Zonda, 25 River Cove Drive in Etobicoke.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, I'm concerned by permitting the maximum building length from 17 meters to 19.36. I will lose the actual and only view I have of the Mimico Creek from my living room. And that is a very, as the Mimico Creek goes down and makes an immediate left turn lane, that is a very beautiful view with a little pebble beach and everything that I have lots of memory about. By extending the length and raising the roof, I will lose a lot of precious sunlight hours in the late fall, winter, and early spring. And many of my 50-year-old stands of cedars on my property risk the potential of being destroyed or damaged once the excavation is commenced. And another point I have is permitting the height above ground of the rear deck from 1.2 to 3.3 meters. I stand to lose privacy in my own backyard, and the same concern applies by locating it so close to, from the stable top of the bank, 6.32 meters instead of the permitted 10. And because of, I will lose value in my house, as upon entering my living room, I'm faced with a massive wall and a roof instead of a view of the Mimico Creek.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to Ms. Kulish. Madam, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You heard the comments from Ms. Zonda, if you'd like to reply.
Yes, sure. We understand the concerns of Ms. Zonda, but there will not be any additional blockage of her view as it is now, currently, on the lot. So the roof is designed the way that it is stepping down. The highest portion of the roof is in the middle of the house, and it's stepping down to the sides. So to minimize the shade to the neighboring property. It is only one-story addition. It's not two-story. So one-story addition is not too high. I want to bring the attention to the following fact, that average grade elevation in the middle of the rear yard of the Ms. Zonda house is 1.5 meter higher than the average grade elevation in the middle of the rear yard adjacent to the of the house number 23, adjacent to the deck. And it is illustrated in figure 1, which we submitted to Committee of Adjustment. There is a row of mature cedar trees between two houses. These mature cedar trees already block the view and create privacy screen. Those trees will be preserved, and the addition will extend exactly to the end of this row of the cedar trees. The wood deck is set back from the joint property line by 6 meters, and it is designed the way that it is hidden from the neighbor's view by the wall of new addition and the existing cedar trees. The trees will be protected and maintained. Arborists provided instructions in the report, and those instructions will be followed by the owner of the property. So I guess I addressed the concerns.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kumrick?
I believe the application meets the 4 tests. I will move to approve, subject to conditions of planning that are laid out, 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumrick. Someone to second that motion? Ms. McCloskey seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Under our next item, item number 15, 74 Cronin Drive. We have one person registered to speak. That's Eddie Perez. He's the agent. Are you there, sir?
I'm here. Good afternoon,
Yes.
Chairman and committee members. I'm here.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Perez. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Full name is Eddie Perez, and I work out about 537 Rogers Road.
Okay, thank you. I just going through your file, I note that there are no comments or recommended conditions from staff. You have one variance before us related to second-story platforms. Pretty clear what you're asking.
It's two.
Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't in the material we have before us today?
It's two balconies. One's 9.6 and one's 9.8 meters. They're both facing the front. It's two balconies, not one.
Okay, yes, second-story platforms. Thank you, sir. Does the
Yeah, and
committee have
I
any questions of the
sorry,
speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Can I just add one thing, please?
Oh, Mr. Perez, we're in committee now. Can I get a motion, please, on the application?
To hear from the applicant, sorry, I don't believe the applicant had an opportunity to present anything, so through you, Chair, I'd like to hear what he was going to say.
Well, Ms. Reddick, I'm sorry, you were breaking up there. Can you just go say that again?
I was requesting, I said I didn't believe that the applicant had an opportunity to say what he wanted to say. Through you, Chair, is requesting that you allow him to say what he wanted to say with respect to the application before we move for a motion.
I'll go back. Mr. Perez, is there anything more you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, if you can tie in the second floor plan and the front elevation.
Sir, can you speak up?
I just wanted to add, if you can just tie it to the second floor and the front elevation when we get the approval, please. If we get the approval.
Okay.
Because it shows the elevations.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Palmer?
I'll move for approval. The application meets the four tests in the Planning Act, so I'll move for approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Palmer. Someone to second that?
Yeah, no conditions.
Ms.
I'll
McCloskey,
second, but just to add yes, just to add, the applicant had requested we tie it to the plans, I believe. Did I
believe
interpret that
that's what
correctly?
Mr. Perez was suggesting, although we have nothing from staff saying tying it to plans.
Right, okay. So I'll just second.
So we have a request from Mr. Palmer to move approval of the application. Someone to second that. Ms. McCloskey seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 16, 5 Baskerville Crescent. I have 3 people registered to speak. The first is the agent Harjinder Singh. Are you there, sir?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe Abhishek will be speaking on behalf of the application.
Okay, thank you. Who do we have speaking, Ms. Sortos?
Abhishek Rajgor?
Yes.
Oh, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, my full name is Abhishek Rajgor, and I'm on behalf of Harjinder Singh, the applicant. Our address is 2355 Derry Road East, Mississauga.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just going through your file, I note there are no comments from recommended comments or conditions from staff. We have 2 other persons registered to speak on this application, sir. So if you'd like to give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, so it's as you all are aware that it's a proposal to have a new house, 2-story with a attached 2-car garage, and the max permitted FSI is 0.45 of the lot area, and we had initially proposed to be 0.52 FSI, and with discussion with staff, they were of the opinion, and we also agreed to come down to 0.49 FSI of the lot area, and we stuck to that, except for the second variance, which is about the front setback. because of the shape of the lot, which is kind of a pie, we don't have enough room to move behind, which is why the garage is sort of projecting outside of the minimum front yard setback. It is 6.97 proposed front yard setback, whereas the minimum required is 7.69 pertaining to the two adjacent houses.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? And being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have an Alberto Castellino. Are you there, sir? Mr. Castellino, are you there? Alberto Castellino, are you there? I'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Carolyn Verratti. Are you there?
Here, thank you.
Carolyn
Can you hear me
Verratti,
okay?
are you there? Carolyn Verratti, are you there? Carolyn Verratti, are you there?
Carolyn, I've unmuted you, so you'll be able to speak. Just don't. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, can you hear me okay now?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, who is speaking?
Carolyn Verity at
Verity,
4
okay,
Radway
thank you.
Avenue.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Carolyn Verity at 4 Radway Avenue.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Yes, thank you. Never been through this process before, but really concerned about the size of the house being significantly larger than the current house and all existing homes in the area. We don't have many new construction going up around here, but if they do, I don't know why they can't fit it within the required, what's required by bylaws instead of building a 2-story, 5-bedroom home in an area where it's typically 3-bedroom bungalows and raised bungalows. I think it's unreasonably large for this area and would be setting a precedent for this area. It's much closer than the average setback for the rest of the homes. Not sure if it's going to be blocking sunlight or any other sight lines. And I confirmed this with my other neighbor as well, Adele Novak at 14 Baskerville. But unfortunately, she's in her 80s and wasn't able to participate in the Zoom with a medical appointment.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go to the next. I'll go back to our previous speaker, Alberto Castellino. Are you there?
Yes, one moment.
Yes, hello?
I'll get him for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just 1 second. Albert. Albert. It's our turn.
Hello? Hello? Hi, Albert here.
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please, sir? Hello, sir?
Hello, it's Albert here, yeah, speaking.
Yes, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Albert Castellino.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to tell us your thoughts on this application?
Actually, I was one of the guys that owned the...
Sir, we're having trouble hearing you. The audio is not very good. Can you can you maybe not speak so close into the telephone receiver?
Okay, yeah, I'm calling regarding the property 5 Baskerville Crescent. Is that what you guys are talking about?
I'm having trouble hearing you, sir.
Sorry.
Slow down.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to find out how long the construction will take when this person starts, and how many parking lots is he going to have, and how many cars there would be on the street.
Okay, thank you. Are those the comments on your application? On the application?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll go back to the agent, get him to address your concerns. Mr. Singh, hello, we'll go back to the agent. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm right here.
Yes, you've heard the
I
comments from
heard
the
the gen-
previous speakers.
Yeah, with reference to the comments from the gentleman, the duration of construction will be entirely the responsibility of the homeowner, and he is intending to finish this work in less than about 6 to 7 months or so. There is no intention to prolong it and cause any sort of inconvenience to the neighborhood, which he respects, and which all of us always believe in doing that thing. And regarding the parking, we are providing 2 car parking spaces inside the garage, and then there is a driveway to come out of it. So there is no intention of parking on the street. So yeah, the intention is to have 2 car parking inside the garage.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
I will move to approve the application, consider it to be minor in nature. I know there was concerns about the FSI mentioned. However, they're really only asking for about 17.5 meters over what's permitted, square meters rather. So yes, I move to approve. I don't believe there's any
Ms.
conditions.
McCloskey, someone to second Ms. McCloskey's motion? Mr. Palmer seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, committee members, break for lunch. How long would you like? 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. After talking to Philip, he said that we should come back at 2 o'clock.
Okay, well, that's the verdict. We'll come back at 2 o'clock. So we'll see you in 1 hour. Thank you.
Sorry, just a message to everyone that may be online waiting for the 1 p.m. session. Due to the morning session running a little bit late, we will be starting the 1 p.m. session at 2 o'clock. We do apologize for any inconvenience. And we will be sound checking shortly before.